Hello, happy hump day and welcome to the show. I'm John Nichols with the Half a Dime team at Movement Mortgage.
And I am Jennifer Nichols with the Half a Dime team at Movement Mortgage. And thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Half a Dime Team Movement Mortgage Live.
That's right, we have an action-packed show for you today, including mortgage news updates.
And we're going to have a very special donation that we made to a deserving local organization in town.
And two awesome guests today. We have Chad Grayop from BioSealed and Nikki Landa from the Center for Adaptive Riding. Two fantastic and incredible people.
And as we get going, please remember to like and share the broadcast and also get together with your friends and colleagues. We're here to answer questions, and that's from us as lenders and then also our participants today too.
That's right. So first up, we have our colleague though up at the lake in our Incline office. He has a Movement Mortgage news update.
So the bottom line is that there's a mass exodus from the San Francisco Bay Area, which is my Tahoe market. So I'm licensed in both Nevada, California. I'm headquartered in Incline Village, Nevada, the northernmost point of the lake, where I live and where my office is. And so in dealing with or discussing with all of the realtors that I do business with, then yes, a ton of people are fleeing the San Francisco Bay Area, if you will, either relocating as a primary residence, especially in light of the fact that it's all tech, or there's so much tech down there, and it's a drive market, right? 200 miles away, a couple, 2.5, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, so easy to get here. So because of that tech and the ability to telecommute, I have multiple deals in process where folks using that telecommute card are just getting out of the Bay Area, whether they're selling their current primary place or they're renting down there, which is excruciating, rental amounts in there. They're basically getting up here. They're moving here, relocating, up to the Tahoe area. For example, I was speaking with a realtor this morning in Incline Village, and they're in the entire town of Incline Village, which is a small town, but there's only 88 listings. 88 listings in the entire town, which normally would be several hundred. And granted, 88 listings, and that's for single family, condominium, multi-unit. That's it. So if that's any indication, folks either staying put or they're just getting snatched up. And so much so in the last 60 days or 90 days, bidding wars. So 100% bidding wars going on purchase transactions as well. So that's all taking place.
Thanks so much for that update, Royal.
That's right, Royal is a wealth of knowledge and an expert on jumbo loans. So make sure to follow us on our social media platform to check out more videos from our various loan officers for all kinds of tips and updates around the market and what's going on. Coming up after the break, we have the first guest, our awesome guest, Chad from BioSealed.
He is a rock star in our community and pretty easy on the eyes as well. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Here are two things you know. You know you want to buy a home, and you know it costs money. Where do you go from there? That's where we come in. A loan officer will sit down with you and talk through your options in a way that's both simple and easy to understand. They'll even go over your budget to see what you can afford. Here are two things you know. You know you want to buy a home, and you know it costs money. Where do you go from there? That's where we come in. A loan officer will sit down with you and talk through your options in a way that's both simple and easy to understand. They'll even go over your budget to see what you can afford. While you're at it, they can help you get pre-approved with our Easy app. It only takes 15 minutes and it cuts the paperwork down to a minimum. Congratulations, you've started the journey of buying your first home. Contact a Movement loan officer today and get pre-approved with our Easy app.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for staying tuned during the break. Please remember to comment in and we will answer any of the questions that you have for us or our guests in the Q&A segment at the end of the show.
Well, I'm really excited for our first guest on the show today. He's quite the stud muffin, but also quite the go-getter. Hello, Chad.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. I
Happy
appreciate
Wednesday.
that. Yeah.
Do you often get showered with that many compliments before an interview?
Yeah, I try to work it up on Wednesdays, you know what I mean?
We're just trying to make you feel good for it.
Halfway through the week, motivation, all the smoke going on, the world falling apart, definitely helps your emotional side.
There you go, definitely. Well, I tell you what, Chad, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Definitely. So I'm a Nevada native. I've lived in Reno for about the past 15 years. So I was born and raised out in Minden, Nevada, and moved up here to go to the university and did undergraduate and graduate there, and fell in love with Reno. How small it is, watching people start their own companies, watching the city grow into the unique little bubble that it's evolving into around artsy district, boutique, restaurants, and small shops is really amazing and beautiful to witness, especially in my life.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So talk to us a little bit. How did you get started with BioSealed? What is BioSealed? Give us the rundown.
Yeah, definitely. Got started with BioSealed just as a pivot earlier this year. My prior experience was within festivals and festival housing and events. And then the whole COVID scenario occurred until my business partner, Samuel Douglas, and I decided to get into BioSealed. And so what it consists of is it is a fog sterilization company that depletes human air.
Oh.
Obviously, with the COVID occurring, you have a lot of opportunity for, if a live case did break out, for you to go into an establishment, miss wiping down a spot, spraying a spot or whatnot. So we're able to acquire a few medical grade fog machines. And so it's just as simplistic as you think about a fog on a dance floor, where it just emits a nice fog through the base of the dance floor. But picture that going through an entire establishment. A fog is outputted based on the cubic footage.
Okay.
And so it gets into every small crack and crevice. And with the solution that we use, it's able to kill way far past the COVID-19 strand, even into categories of C. diff. And so it's an amazing technology, and with the ability of depleting the human air, the job's getting done accurately. And the main reason that we started the company was we were watching everything fall apart in the world. We were worried that we weren't going to be able to go to our favorite events, sporting events,
Right.
festivals, music shows, and whatnot. And so we just wanted to do our part to try to help control everything that is occurring in the world, to slow it down, manage the virus, and not let everything unfold the way that it has been to such a macro degree.
Absolutely.
Definitely. That sounds like it was really important for you to start this company for that purpose.
Yes, sir.
One of the things you just mentioned was when you emit the spray, how long does that last in the building for?
So there's two different services that we specialize in. One is just a strict sterilization. So if you did have a live case of a COVID-19 strand, employee has it, we would be able to come in and emit a solution that would just completely sterilize the environment so that you wouldn't be able to actually touch something, breathe something, and be able to gain the virus. And the second solutant that we use is a 90-day antimicrobial treatment. And so what that is pretty much in a simplistic term, a very small layer of a solution is outputted on everything inside of a room, whether it's porous or non-porous, and that will stay actively treating for up to 90 days. And what it does is it inhibits the ability of bacteria to grow. It stops bacteria from spreading, and the exact solution that we use just has active ions inside of it, and so it will break down bacteria as well when it comes into contact with it. And so it just keeps an extra layer of an ability to control bacteria spreading.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So you put all of this together and you jumped right into a new career in the middle of a pandemic. What did you have reservations, hesitations, or were you just focused on helping who you can?
Helping where we could. My prior career was completely shut down. I was in a position where it was either become innovative, become resilient, make a pivot move, and try to benefit society while making sure I didn't completely fail in life. And so that's how this completely started. And then my business partner, Samuel Douglas, and I, he is a commercial broker, so he has a lot of knowledge with buildings and everything. And so we found this specific idea to be the most beneficial towards the community. And it was on complete accident, just based on the whole COVID-19, that it fell into our hands. We were able to get the machines, get the proper training, and to be able to start the company in general.
Absolutely.
So a little bit more on how BioSeal works. So when you do the spray, how soon can someone go back into the building? Can we use it residentially? And is it safe to have pets in the area?
Definitely. So the first solution that we use is a very high concentrate of hydrogen peroxide. So you couldn't be in the area when it was being emitted. The machines will be placed, they will be calculated based on the cubic footage, and then air samples will be ran. But then the team members that are operating the jobs are in full hazmat suits because the fog gets everywhere.
Yeah.
And so after the process is done, you have a 4-hour period until the particles per million rest down enough for you to be able to just walk through the room. So no animals around, you would turn the HVAC off because you wouldn't want any air cycling in, as well as if you had a bird in the room, so on and so forth. So you need to be out. A typical, let's say, 2,000 square foot residential house, a large machine will be operating for about an hour. 4 hours after that, anybody can come back into the home. We do operate residential as well as commercial. We can output about 150,000 cubic feet per hour with our machines. We can do very large spaces.
Yeah.
Wow. So with the businesses, how are you helping them specifically? Obviously, do they call you? Are you guys reaching out to businesses you feel are most impacted by what's going on?
Both, absolutely. So a lot of the businesses that we directly reach out to are any that are in operation that have a heavy amount of frequented people. People that are coming and going, restaurants, accounting firms, schools, where you know there's going to be a lot of random people that aren't directly connected in some way coming in and out of establishment. And that's who we reach out to because we find that'll have the best impact for them specifically. And then a lot of companies that reach out to us in a beneficial term will be if company A has a positive COVID case. They will shut down. The person that had it will obviously go through the process that they need to. Anybody that was exposed will get tested. We will come in, completely sterilize the environment so that when they want to, whether it's the next day, a couple days afterwards, if they need testing, they can open right back up with a complete efficacy and know that this virus is gone out of the establishment. And so that's where a lot of people are reaching out to us, as well as a lot of small practices, schools, and large factories that have consistent employees working right now to do the 90-day treatment, to just provide an extra barrier, less liability on their end, puts liability on us, and so be able to benefit them through that.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So that sounds like you cover a lot of service industries. What about the areas? Where do you serve? How far throughout the state do you go? Is it just the Reno-Sparks area, or?
Definitely. So our focus right now is Reno-Sparks because we are local and we can service more jobs, to be able to target more of a macro perspective in town. We do service a lot of jobs in Carson City, Sun, Minden, Garnerville, and even far out to Winnemucca if we need to based on the circumstances. But our goal is just the surrounding area. So Carson City, Reno, Sparks, Minden, because based on efficiency, we can target as many companies as possible to try to help and de-escalate this virus scenario. As well, in the future, just try to help and prevent when the common cold outbreaks or the flu, and so that it depletes everybody from getting it like we normally do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned you do commercial and residential. Are there a lot of people taking advantage of the residential services right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
A lot of people, especially in your industry, so when people are buying and selling homes, we're servicing a lot of people so that if somebody is selling a home, the people that are buying it do not know the people selling it personally. So we'll come and do a complete sterilization, which will stop any prior odors, any mold, as well as any viruses of unwanted pathogens that could be in the area.
That's a good idea.
So that you know you're starting fresh. Same with when companies are building homes. Once a home is finished being built, because there's so many different trades in a home.
Yeah.
That you don't know if
Absolutely.
it was there. Now you know that your new house is a new house. And so a lot of people in residential in that aspect. And then we have a relatively strong one-time clientele that is just utilizing the services for if a family member had COVID, so that they've been on quarantine, they are able to clear out their home to get their life back to normal once they have done that.
That's pretty amazing. So what's next for you?
You know, with this company, we hope to progress it, set up a franchise eventually to try to help control the spread and control unwanted pathogens. And from there, another partner and I are going to start a company that we're going to try to directly connect local businesses. So locals servicing locals in the community.
Awesome.
To create more formal introductions with companies to try to keep everything in our community instead of using more box stores, stuff of that nature. Because a lot of people just do not know how many different companies are in Reno. So if you needed a wiring set, most of the time you might just go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Best Buy instead of knowing the small mom and pop store that might exist
Right.
to be able to connect people on a more personal level.
Oh, that's
awesome.
amazing. Yeah. So one of my favorite questions, if you could hop into a time machine and give your younger business self advice, what would you say?
Pick one thing, stick to it until you move on at all
Perfect.
times. Read more books, but anytime you think something could be beneficial for your emotional psyche or in a financial way, stick to that idea, see if it works, go from there instead of thinking of too many ideas and not focusing on one.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Good advice.
Definitely. Definitely good advice. Well, what a fantastic guy, Chad. Thank you so much. Jen, we're really glad that we could have you here to promote your business.
And coming up after the break, we have a dear friend and a new wife. She just got married a couple weekends ago, Nikki from the Center for Adaptive Writing. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Here are two things you know. You know you want to buy a home, and you know it costs money. Where do you go from there? That's where we come in. A loan officer will sit down with you and talk through your options in a way that's both simple and easy to understand. They'll even go over your budget to see what you can afford. While you're at it, they can help you get pre-approved with our Easy app. It only takes 15 minutes and it cuts the paperwork down to a minimum. Congratulations, you've started the journey of buying your first home. Contact a Movement loan officer today and get pre-approved with our Easy app.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We hope you're enjoying the show so far. And if you're just tuning in, I'm John Nichols with the Half a Dime team at Movement Mortgage.
And I am Jennifer Nichols. Thanks so much for watching our September edition of Movement Mortgage Live.
That's right. Our next guest on the show is Nikki from the Center for Adaptive Writing right here in Reno.
Woohoo! John and I, as Nikki knows, we are massive horse enthusiasts, and this guest is really special to us. I am actually also the board president for the Center for Adaptive Writing, so extra special that she's here with us today.
Absolutely. It's definitely an organization that we both love to support. But Nikki, welcome.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you fell in love with horses.
Yeah, so born and raised in Reno. I went to Reno High, got a degree in social work at UNR. I fell in love with horses at a really young age. I spent summers with my family on their ranches, and that love just never went away. So in elementary school, I got my first horse. I actually used to show with these two local shows. So I did shows. I've done the Reno Rodeo flag team, and just always have had my own horses, and it's a love that's never going to go away.
An expensive love that doesn't
Yeah.
go away.
That's true. We don't talk about that part. So explain to our viewers, how did the Center for Adaptive Writing come to be here in Reno?
Yeah, so it began, the two founders, Billy and Barbara, they were in Washoe Valley, and it actually began in one of their backyards in 2007. In 2009, they became a nonprofit, and as the years went on, this organization grew and expanded, and so they moved up to Horseman's Park, where we could take on more riders in 2015. That year, we also became a proud PATH International Premier Accredited Center, so that means we meet over 100 standards through PATH International, which is the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship.
So talk a little bit more about that. What exactly does the Center for Adaptive Writing do for our viewers? Because we know, but we want you to share with the world.
Yeah. So we do equine assisted activities and therapies for people of all abilities. Our primary focus is people with disabilities, whether that's physical, cognitive, socio-emotional, but that is our main focus, is doing adaptive writing.
And so what different programs do we have at the center? Because I know that we have a wide range of abilities, ages. What are some of the specifics that we'll offer?
Yeah, so our main program is our adaptive writing. So that is ages 4 years and up. We do children, adults, all abilities. We work on writing skills, but then we individualize their lessons for them. So we have a sensory trail, and we work fun games that sometimes they don't even know we're working on skills, like fine motor skills, picking up something, throwing balls in a hoop, hand-eye coordination.
I love the opening and closing of the mailboxes and grabbing the animal characters out of them.
Yeah, and they're working on writing skills in addition to that, so they have to tell their horse to stop. So that's our biggest main program program that we focus on. We also, in the past, have worked with Wounded Warriors. We have the Odyssey up in Truckee, and they come down for a day and do an event with their partner. That's an amazing, really fun day we do. And then we work with the Girl Scout troops locally, and they earn their horse badge, which
Awesome.
really fun. They come for a couple hours, they get to do a lesson, but learn about the care of a horse and all of that. As you two know, there's so much that goes into taking care of a horse and having a horse, so they earn their horse badge. And then something near and dear to my heart, we started a couple years ago. It's very small, and I'm hoping to grow and work with other organizations in Reno in the near future, but we have a grief group for children who've lost a parent, so that's been an awesome program as well.
That sounds like a really needed one. What type of techniques do you use?
Yeah, so through Path International, I am certified, and then any other instructors we have are also certified. So we work on adaptive different ways. So we have different equipment for riders that's specialized for them. So different reins, maybe they have a ladder rein or different feels for them. We also do different saddles for everybody, and really individualizing it for them to help in whatever way they need.
And even it boils down to like the positioning of the rider. We'll have some where we maybe face backwards because it's a little bit easier on their body and what we're trying to help them with. So with even the volunteers and then also our participants, what can they expect to take away from working with the center and then also the horses?
The biggest thing I would say is empowerment. So our mission is to empower people of all abilities, and I think you have as young as 4 years old on this 1,000-pound huge animal, and they really are empowered. They learn to control this animal all on their own, and it's amazing to watch them. They build self-confidence, and I think the most important is fun. They get to come in, they walk in our doors, and it is fun. How can we have fun? We play games in the lessons. We're working on goals, but we're having fun. And the volunteers, they get to be around horses and experience that, and then have fun with us as well.
Fun is so important. In addition to the programs that you also offer lessons, correct?
Yeah, so our adaptive riding works in weekly lessons. So we do 8-week-long sessions, and each rider has one lesson per week. We do have some riders who are able-bodied. We have a wait list right now, though, so we fit everybody in as we can.
And then who's the good fit rider-wise and then also volunteer-wise for the program?
Yeah, so volunteers are a huge part of our organization. I rely on them to run our program. Last year I had about 50 volunteers, and this year's a little bit different with COVID, but I still have about 30. It's pretty amazing, this organization that you get with these volunteers. So you have them young. I have 14 years old. I even have a couple 12-year-olds that come and volunteer with their parents, all the way up to people who are retired and looking for something to do in retirement. And you have people who have horse experience and some who have none, some who would just want to be around horses and give back. And so this different culture that you get, everybody brings a little bit different experience and knowledge. And so really anybody can come volunteer with us. And then for our riders, same thing. We work with all abilities. So anybody, as long 4 years and all the way up to the elderly, we'll work with.
So there's lots of room for lots of people.
So I would imagine, like many organizations, you guys were impacted by the pandemic. Tell me a little bit about how it impacted and how you guys have pivoted.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of unknown, a lot of changes, a lot of learning different ways. How can we adapt? I mean, that's what we do, adaptive riding. So learning to adapt in this new culture. So many of our riders need physical support, so we have not began physical lessons yet. I am working right now to do virtual lessons because we still want to engage and see our riders. We miss them. I miss them so much. Our horses miss them. So come October, we're going to be doing some virtual barn tours and lessons and that kind of thing. And then hopefully by next year, we'll be able to be up and running those physical lessons as well.
Definitely, I felt a change in not being able to see them physically this year. It's just being able to see their face light up when they get on the horse and see Nikki and they just come running down and the excitement. So hopefully next year we'll be able to move back to normal. And it's really beautiful how the center supports our communities. So how can the community give back to the Center for Adaptive Riding?
Yeah, we rely, as a nonprofit, we rely on donations and foundations, grants. So monetary support is a huge thing to help us run. As you said, horses are very expensive. We couldn't do what we do without them. We love them, we cherish them, we give them the best care they can, but it does come at a high cost. And then also just liking us on social media, going to our Facebook and Instagram, following us, liking us, and keeping up with the events that we have. That's huge. Getting our name out in the community is something that's been our goal for 2020, so any support we can get.
Is there a specific place where we can go to donate and then also become sponsors?
Yes, so on our website at adaptiveriding.org, we have a specific page for sponsors. We also right now have a horse sponsorship, so people can have their own horse, one of our therapy horses. We have one gal who's doing that right now, so she gets special pictures of her horse and her name on the barn, so that's a fun way that people can be a sponsor.
And for all of the viewers as well that have participated in our annual fundraiser, Boots and Bow Ties, we are going to be taking that virtual this year, so stand by for details on that. And if they can't financially help, how do they get in touch to volunteer to help?
Yep, so on our website you'll see our phone number and my email so they can contact me. Volunteering is a huge way they can give back, and then I really need the support, whether that's coming to the barn and helping with the horses right now, the fundraiser, as you mentioned, that always takes a big crew behind the scenes, so I always have a lot of ways to find volunteers.
You and the center are a light in the community and bring joy to a lot of people. What type of advice do you have for our viewers to stay positive during times like these?
Yes, so there is so much unknown and change going on, and when you are with the horse and you're riding, you have to be in the moment, and horses teach you to be in the moment. When you're going along, horses aren't thinking about everything going on in the world, they're right there. So I would say, take a moment, take a breath, enjoy the moment that you have.
Absolutely.
That's really great advice.
And thanks so much for all of the information. And as a special thank you, John and I, the Half Dime team at Movement Mortgage, we actually have a donation for you. I'm a little short. An $850 donation that we're going to make to the center today. So just a small token of our appreciation for what you do.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nikki. Well, everybody, please stay tuned. We will be right back. We'll have Chad from BioSealed back as well to join us along with Nikki, and we'll be answering any of the questions that you guys have posted down in the comments below.
All right, guys, stay tuned and get those questions ready.
See you soon.
Need a response for COVID-19? BioSealed specializes in smart fog sterilization using industry-leading technology to kill 99.9999% of pathogens, such as coronavirus, C. diff, and more, while depleting human error. Servicing commercial and residential. Safe around electronics. No residue, smell, or wetting. An application takes as little as a few hours, and we work with your schedule. Best of all, it's affordable. Call BioSealed now for a free consultation.
Here are two things you know. You know you want to buy a home, and you know it costs money. Where do you go from there? That's where we come in. A loan officer will sit down with you and talk through your options in a way that's both simple and easy to understand. They'll even go over your budget to see what you can afford. While you're at it, they can help you get pre-approved with our Easy app. It only takes 15 minutes and it cuts the paperwork down to a minimum. Congratulations, you've started the journey of buying your first home. Contact a Movement loan officer today and get pre-approved with our Easy app.
All right, well, welcome back to the show, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned.
We have our stud muffin, Chad from BioSealed back, and our beautiful bride, Nikki, as well, and they are here for your questions.
That's right. So if you have questions, please make sure you are posting them. We will be checking them on our various pages. So one of the first questions was, do you perform follow-up testings post-spray to ensure the virus is exterminated?
We do, to make sure that we reach the efficacy that we need to. So we do live tests while the machines are operating. And so the spray is just a simple dry fog from the machine. So the machine's calculated, you put in the cubic footage, it'll tell you exactly how long based on the cubic footage that the machine is going to operate. We will do the testing while the machine is operating as well as post to make sure that the efficacy was reached to gain the results that were
nice. One other follow-up question too was any damage that happens to like furniture? Is there anything that needs to be removed from the space?
Good question.
No, not at all. And that is a very good question. So the output of the machine has such a small micron droplet size. That's what it's called in the technical term. The machine outputs at a 2.4 to a 4.2. Anything above a 10 is where you start to get wetting, corrosive exposure to different plants, materials that are inside of the building.
Yeah.
And so it's outputting at such a small droplet size that even though the solution is very high potency of a hydrogen peroxide, you don't have any of those effects. And it does not harm any electronics, does not wet a surface, leave an odor or any residue.
Wow.
Nice. So if I put my head down on the pillow and I go out in the sun, it's not going to turn blonde from the hydrogen peroxide or
Nope,
anything?
but if you walk through the house when
Yeah.
the machine's operating, it will most definitely change your hair color.
Awesome.
Absolutely will, just to let you know.
Like anything could overpower your grape.
Yeah, that's true. Amen. yeah. Nikki, one of the questions for you was how you came to be a part of the Center for Adaptive Riding.
That's a great question. I actually started as a volunteer. In 2016, I volunteered with the Center for Adaptive Riding. Previously, I had volunteered with an organization in Minden, and I had a dear friend, excuse me, get in an accident, and it kind of woke me up, and I said, okay, I need to chase my dream. This has always been what I want to do with my life, and so I went to Connecticut for 3 months and got certified at a large organization.
Nice. One of the other questions for Chad that came in was, I know you said every 90 days typically. Can you smoke a house too many times or too frequently where it would be an issue?
You would not, and that just relates back to that micron droplet size. So if you dry fog this establishment today and we needed to come back tomorrow, you're not going to have any post effects from the solution being outputted from the machines. The 90-day antimicrobial, it still stays on all surface areas for up to 90 days with your normal routine cleaning procedures. So if it's on this table and we Windex this table, if we do just a bleach cloth, Clorox wipe, it's still going to stay on this table. You'd have to really scrub to get it off, which is a great part of the technology for antimicrobials.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have those effects, but you wouldn't have a need to do it more often. If you did do the sterilization after the antimicrobial, that is such a potent solution that you would need to redo the antimicrobial.
Okay.
But that would just follow suit based on whatever unfortunate events that you're dealing with at that time that needed that to occur.
That makes sense. One of the other questions for Nikki is there a cost for the lessons provided by CAR?
There is, yes. So we do have a fee per lesson, but we also offer a scholarship for riders who are in financial need.
Excellent. Another question going out to you, Nikki. Is there a minimum age requirement to volunteer at CAR?
Yes, so we do require 14 years or older. If they are younger than that, we just need a parent to supervise with them. So
Awesome. Okay. And it looks like a bunch of horse people are starting to jump in here. Another question for you, Nikki, is where do you get the horses and how do you determine if they're suitable for the program?
that's a great question because we can't just take any horse. And so all of our horses are donated to us. So they go through a training period where we have a list and we do a bunch of games and toys and things flying around them and unbalanced riders on them because not all horses are okay with all of those things.
Right.
So we go through a period with them, and then once they pass that, we accept them as our program horse. We take care of the cost of them, and they become ours. We actually, during this time, since we've been kind of low-key, we did just take on a Mustang. So we just have a new horse, little Mustang that we've been working with.
Excellent. A personal question that I have too is, can someone retain ownership of their horse so that they can be in the program, but if ever the cost got too much of a burden for the program, they could take that horse back?
Yes, absolutely. So last year we actually had a young gal who let us lease her horse for a weekend. So every Saturday her horse would come and be a program horse, but then went home with her. So we do work with owners for a bunch of different scenarios.
Nice. One of the other questions was about when you do the spray in a residential home, do they just sit in one spot and will that go throughout the whole house, or do you like have them in each room, or how does that work?
It would depend on how the house is set up. You will have multiple bedrooms in obviously any normal house. If a machine's set up in an area like this, the output is similar to if you had a fire in the house.
Yeah.
Once the smoke starts pushing itself around, it'll get into the entire house. And so it's the same with the fog. It's just based on how high of an output the air pressure is pushing out the solution. And so it will push itself throughout the entire room. So we did a test last week in a very large warehouse from about 125 feet away from the machine. We just did a hydrogen peroxide testing strip. and within minutes, it was able to completely turn black and show that it already reached that area. But it's dependent. If you have 2 stories versus 1, then you would move 1 machine upstairs or have 2 machines, 1 upstairs, 1 downstairs, based on the calculation of the cubic footage. Then run the sampling for the test to make sure that all areas were targeted.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the other follow-up questions that I saw, I lost it in here, was in restaurants, a lot of times like the cleaning stuff that they use kind of stinks. Is there a noticeable smell or odor with the spray?
Absolutely not. So
Nice.
it is guaranteed to not leave any type of odor and or like we talked about the residue behind as well. But it will, especially with the hydrogen peroxide, it will, if you have a stagnant odor in your establishment, restaurant, it will kill that right off.
Nice. That's good to know. I have a fat bulldog that sleeps under my bed. Maybe that'd be nice to get rid of that smell. And then I think we saw.
This is the last time I'll ask you the questions.
I think we already answered this one. How long is the process of spraying? You said it's about an hour.
So it's just dependent based on the cubic footage. So
Yeah.
you can
Makes
output
sense,
about
yeah.
150,000 cubic feet per hour with the large machines. With the smaller machines, it's about 15,000 cubic feet per hour. So when you're doing simple calculations, obviously just take the length of the wall, the width of the wall, and the height of the ceiling, multiply those together, and then you'll get an idea of how much cubic footage you have. Then you can adequately calculate how long we would roughly be in there for. But if it was, let's say, a 2,000 square foot residential home, we could get in and out of there within about an hour with a medium-sized machine. Or when you're dealing with warehouses that are 100, 200,000 square feet, multiple machines can operate based on the time period. And once the air is sampled, get out of there within, let's say, a half a day to a full day.
Yeah. That's excellent. The reason I was stuttering was because there was an embarrassing question that came through, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyway. One of our viewers wants to know if Stud Muffin knows how to ride a horse.
I do, and I'm scared of horses. My buddy does all kinds of horse events all the time with what we were discussing earlier, and I will get on his horse, and I will be definitely terrified. Still ride it, but let me tell you, I'm super scared.
One more serious question is coming in. Is killing all the germs, is that a good thing in a house, or should there be some sort of bacteria that's left over from one of our viewers?
That is completely controversial.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with a virus that can affect your health and your well-being, there's many opportunities of certain bacteria that you do want to have stay in your home as well as your business. But when you have something that can obviously create a long-term effect or create a fatal effect from it, then that's where the controversy is.
And about 90 days afterwards, the effects start to wear off anyway, so maybe the good bacteria start to come back if that's something that someone believes. Would that be the case?
Absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. Well, do you have any additional questions, Jennifer?
Yep, I think we've tortured them enough today.
We will make sure, some of them are asking how to get in contact. We're going to make sure that in the comments section that we get both of their contact information put in there, so you can always come back to this live. It stays out there on the social media accounts, so we'll be able to get that information to everybody, including a link to anyone who feels it in their heart to make another donation. So with that.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you, viewers, for also tuning in and having your questions. It's really awesome to know that you guys are out there supporting us.
That's right. So don't forget to join us next month. It'll be the third Wednesday, 2 p.m., just like it is every single month for the Movement Live. Thanks, everybody.